Hello, everybody. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Francisco, also known as Paco, and it is the holiday week. It is happening. It is festive. I got my holiday sweater on. It says Feliz Navidad. That means Merry Christmas in Spanish for those of you who may not know. But yeah, it's the holiday week. We have an amazing week worth of content. Check out a schedule. We got one pulled up. So today is day 2 of our holiday week. So I'm kicking things off with making some hyperlapses with photography. And then after this, we have weekend creative. They're going to be making photo patterns, followed by holiday bookmarks, illustrations for Hanukkah, magical compositions with Jesus Ramirez. He will be wrapping things up with us today. But fret not, we have another day of holiday live streaming tomorrow. So 3 days of holiday joy here with us on Adobe Live. So I see we got people in the chat already. We got Robert, we got Cody, we got Patrick. I'm also looking at YouTube. We got Natalie, we got 515. So yeah, everybody, thank you for joining us here on Adobe Live. So I am looking at both chats. If y'all have any questions, you have any comments, please feel free to write those in. I am looking at them. So yeah, let's have some fun today. So let's talk about what's going to happen today. We are going to be making some hyperlapses. And what are hyperlapses, you may think? This is something that I've had a lot of fun shooting over my years. It's something that I've been doing a little bit more, but it's kind of a cool way just to, kind of make more engaging photography. So if we go to my Instagram here, shameless plug, if you want anything relating to landscape photography, the California mountains, feel free to check it out. Recently hiked John Muir Trail. That was fun stuff. Did it over 20 days. But enough about that. Let's talk about some hyperlapses. So here's a hyperlapse, actually. This is something I did with Adobe Firefly. I turned my hyperlapse into some Gen AI art every frame. So as you can see, it's kind of this moving photography. So a traditional time lapse is just kind of a static shot where you're looking at one thing and then you control time where things may go faster or slower based on your intervals. But a hyperlapse takes it a step further and actually moves with the time lapse. So you have kind of this cool matrixy effect, as we like to say. So here's one I kind of shot in the back country. So again, it's kind of this moving time lapse, right? So instead of having the camera just solely sitting on the tripod and not moving, with each shot you take, you're moving one step and you get this cool moving hyperlapse effect. So I shot a couple more. Here's another one. So 0 views. That's funny. Most likely because this was shot before the days of Reels. Man, how Instagram has changed. But yeah, so this is kind of the idea. Again, we are moving as we take each shot. So here's one of the Palace of Fine Arts. Very cool stuff. Kind of look like a crazy person when you're out there shooting because, again, I'm taking a shot and taking one step at a time. I mean, I'm out there shooting for like 2 hours and you get a lot of stares, but it doesn't matter because you make amazing content, right? It's all for the content. I think I have another one. Here we go. Painted Ladies. So another pretty cool landmark in San Francisco. So again, it's kind of this like moving time lapse. So it gives it a pretty cool effect. I see Osu Ninja. What an incredible sweater. Thank you. Yes, I can't even take credit for the sweater. My partner gave this to me. She is a thrifting queen and just knows how to find them. And yeah, it's got little like Mexican chilies. Like it's, little sombrero and lime. Again, it's the festive holiday, so why not? I see General Kenobi, Clever. I see Sean. We got all the friends in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a good time. I'm glad you all are joining us for this holiday week with Adobe Live. All right, so let's get into what we are doing. So I'm going to fire up Lightroom here. Okay, and I decided to shoot a hyperlapse of a lamp. This is called a Hy-Vee Kozo. It's actually really cool lamps that some artists in California make. A lot of geometric designs, right? They have very cool shadows right here, especially if you put it against the corner, you get amazing effect. Very cool lamp. So the scenario here is, let's say we're a small business owner. It's our holiday shop. It's a holiday sale. And we want to make an engaging piece of content to kind of sell to our Etsy shop or whatever. So let's think about let's do a hyperlapse, right? So let's kind of make this stand out when I'm making a post on social media and saying, hey, I'm having a sale. So that was the kind of idea, right? So here is the shoot. I shot this with my Canon R6 camera. So as you can see, I'm just kind of doing this like 180 degree shoot around this product to try and get that effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this in Lightroom, and then we're going to bring the exported edits into After Effects to stabilize it and kind of make it that cool looping effect. So that's where we're going with this. To kind of show you how this all works on the back end. So I did a little time. Oh, this is so meta. It's a time lapse of a time lapse. So this is a time lapse of actually me shooting it. So again, have the camera on tripod, have it on portrait mode, and then I'm just kind of moving a 180 around this product. I will say one of the keys to make these hyperlapses work is you really want to just take the tiniest steps between each shot, right? So it's very easy to like take a shot and then maybe move it like 7 inches, a foot. What's going to happen is you're going to just cover a lot of ground with not a lot of frames. And if you think about it, or shots, if you think about a shot, it's just kind of a frame and we put it into a video. So when you're shooting video, it's usually shot at 24 frames per second. That's kind of what traditional movies are. You know, a lot of phones shoot 30 frames per second. So if you're covering a lot of ground, you may only get like 40 shots or 40 frames, and it's a little over a second. So I really try and take my time when I'm shooting these hyperlapses. And as you can see, that tripod is just, barely moving. We're talking like 2 or 3 inches per shot. So that's probably my biggest piece of advice when trying to give this a go is, when you're going around the product, really just try and go like 2-3 inches and try and get at least like 70 shots. So I shot this once and I did 40 shots and I was like, dang, I feel like I know not to do this, but I did it because it's easy to just take a lot more space than you think. I actually shot 2. So the first one I shot, I think I only got 40 shots, and then I'll show you how that looked. I was like, we could use more frames. So then I went back and then I took my time, and then I ended up getting 70 shots within the hyperlapse. So here I am moving a little bit more. Let's see the chat. So we got General Kenobi, hyperlapses making hyperlapses. How perverse. Yes, it's very meta. Hyperlapseception, as we'll say. We got Stian. So again, thank you for joining us, friends. Again, this is live, so if y'all have any questions, you want to talk shop about anything, feel free to drop a comment, and then we can chat, because I am looking at those chats. Okay, all right, cool. So that's kind of how this works. Now, let's get into the editing. All right, so let me X these out. So again, here we are in Adobe Lightroom Classic. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start editing these hyperlapses and really make the subject stand out. That is the goal here. Cool thing about kind of shooting this in a controlled environment is I can copy and paste settings. I don't have to edit every single photo, and I don't think you all want to watch me sit here and edit. What do we got? 77 photos. What's the fun in that? So we're going to take some shortcuts here. But one of the things to keep in mind when shooting this is kind of having consistent lighting. So this was an overcast day, which kind of worked in my favor because that means that through the window, the light wasn't going to flicker a lot, and if the light's changing, then that's going to show in the hyperlapse. You'll kind of get this flickering effect. So I kind of, I was thinking about shooting the hyperlapse sometime last week, and then it was cloudy, so I was like, hey, I can do this. I don't have to have a controlled environment where I put a backdrop and I put a light and control lighting, because usually when you're doing product shoots, you want to rely on variable lighting because that just makes post-production a pain. But yeah, it kind of worked in my favor. Just kind of did a quick and dirty shoot. But yeah, let's get into it. So anyways, here is this little hyperlapse, this little Hybicozo lamp. And what I want to do is we'll bring the shadows up just a little bit. Okay, and then when I bring the highlights, you're really going to see that lamp glow. Check that out. Yeah, so I really want to highlight this. And I did shoot wide because we're going to crop in. So don't worry about all this stuff in the backdrop. But the goal right now, as I'm editing, is to kind of really make that lamp shine. So we'll increase the exposure just a little bit. And again, I don't want to bring too much attention to the backdrop because when you're editing photos, think about it as a painter of light, right? We want to kind of bring the eyes into what our focal point is, and obviously it's this lamp. So I did increase the exposure, and that kind of increased all this stuff that might be a little distracting, but we are going to fix that with some masks. So I always like to add a little bit of vibrance because I do shoot raw. So when you shoot raw, things are kind of flat out of the camera. So you just want to make sure that you give it a little bit of color. And then I do like to look at my histogram. So if you ever, check it out, I have this cool zoom feature. There we go. Okay. So when you're looking at a histogram here on Lightroom, if that triangle is kind of filled in white, that's letting you know that you're losing some data somewhere. So here on the left-hand side is the blacks. Over here are the whites. You can kind of over here and see black shadows, exposure, whites. So it's letting me know that there's some stuff here that is getting clipped. And over here, this means there's no data here. But we shot in RAW. You want to know what the cool thing about RAW is? You can work some voodoo magic to bring that information back, right? So if I kind of increase the blacks, you'll see that those blacks come back and that turns to blue, which now is saying is like the blue channel of that black is getting clipped, but now it is gone. So I brought my blacks back, but again, not really focused on here, just kind of showing you how the histogram works. And then here are the whites. So yeah, I have a virtual fire here. Why have a blank TV? Put a fire on. It's the holidays, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay. All right, cool. And the last thing I like to do with my photos is give it a nice little tone curve. So this might look a little intimidating, this S curve. How it pretty much reads is you have a diagonal line that goes from the darks down here to the midtones into the highlights. If you actually click on this different way to adjust the tones, then it kind of highlights the region. So as you can see, the highlights pertains to this upper area. The lights are kind of this whole area. You have the darks and the shadows. So it's kind of a cool way to figure out what you're affecting with the tone curve. But I like to use just a traditional curve. And I usually like to have an S curve. An S curve just gives a photo some good amount of contrast. So I like to kind of bring down the darks a little bit. And then usually I'll bring up this top right area, which is the lights and highlights, but I don't want to bring it too high because I'm going to clip it. And then usually based on how it's looking, I like to kind of grab the midtones. And, again, this is a bright picture because this lamp is kind of a little overexposed. So I'll just bring that down a little bit. Okay, cool. And then there's this cool little key below the delete key that kind of shows you before and after. So look at all that cool editing that we did. That is the before, that's the after. Again, kind of brighten everything up. But again, the focus needs to stay here on this Hyperlapse lamp. So let's get into my favorite part of Lightroom editing, masks. Okay, cool. Just looking at the chat. Let's see, it's a lot like my Judgment Hyperlapse. That's True Clever. We are towards the end of the holidays and we're all kind of like, what's happening? Okay, one sec. My mouse cursor disappeared. There it is. Okay, cool. So let's get into the masks. Now, I like to, off the bat, just add a radial gradient. So we are going to add this right here. And I like to just flip it. So I'm all about keyboards. If you've watched some of my live streams, the more keyboards you know, the faster you're going to work. So if you hit the apostrophe key, that's just going to flip it here in Lightroom Classic. And now you can see that the red areas are where the changes are going to take effect, and where it's not red is going to leave it alone. So I want to darken everything that is not this pretty cool hyperlapse. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down. There we go. So again, we are just kind of putting focused on our product. I want to kind of everything else in the background that's distracting to just start to hide it. And we're painting with light. That's how I like to think about it. We're just kind of giving this photo some direction on where the viewer should look. Okay. We got Jack Watson. What's going on? We got Oliver. Oh, we got all the friends in the chat. So good seeing y'all. Thank you for joining us again for this holiday week. I know we got some cameos too from the Adobe Live team, which is fun. Andrew was live with us yesterday. We got Ryan. We got Megan coming on tomorrow, and then we got all our awesome community members that join us. So it's a good week. I'm so glad you all are joining us. It is fun stuff. Okay, cool. So what I like to do when I add this kind of like natural vignette is I like to flip it. So cool thing you can do is you can click these three buttons and then go to duplicate, and invert mask. And then I want to add just a little bit more focus on our subject. So I'm going to bring this a little bit lower. When I feather it, it's not so noticeable. So let's say I have it like this. It's a very harsh line. Let's say I increase the exposure. Look at this. Nobody wants to see that. All right, you can just kind of see. Let's get this go away. Yeah, you can just kind of see this very obvious light that I'm putting on there. So feathering is your friend when you're working on that. All right, so that just kind of blends your adjustments a little more. 82 is way too much. It is kind of just blowing out that light, but I am going to increase the exposure and then just warm it up a little bit, because light is warm. And again, we really want to put some emphasis on our subject here. Okay, coming back to this one, I do want to bring down the highlights just a little bit. Again, that's just kind of killing some of that light on the back. Cool. And then we can kind of see quickly what the difference is with masks. Look at that. We made 2 masks. And now it's just kind of putting more emphasis on our subject here. So yeah, I really like using these organic vignettes. There's a setting in Lightroom where you can just add it, but I like to be in control of the things that I'm doing. So I always like to give it a natural vignette so I kind of can paint with light. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got Stian saying whoever made the copy settings in Lightroom deserves a Nobel Prize. I agree. We're all about working smarter, not harder here. And that does make our lives easier. Okay. So have a little bit too much light up here. So again, just kind of want to kill the distractions in our product. So I'm going to add a linear gradient this time. The more you kind of spread it out, the more it naturally feathers. So as you can see, if I bring it very, very close, the red just kind of gets a little bit more together and a little harsh, but I like to really spread it out because then you can start to see that red feathering there, right? And then I'm just going to bring it back here, and then we'll increase the exposure a little bit. I just kind of want to kill that light up here, okay? Okay, cool. So that looks good for now. Don't want to spend too much time in one photo because we got lots to do. We're already 20 minutes in. Goodness gracious. Okay, so before and after. Okay, looking at this, actually, I do want to just bring down the highlights just a little bit. I want to blow out that light. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and take all these adjustments and put them to the rest of the photos, right? So I will hit Command-C to copy, and then it's asking me, hey, what all do you want to copy? Okay, you want the treatment profile, basic, curve, crop, masks. Yes, I want it all. I'm even going to include masks. So since this is kind of the same shot and I'm looking at the center of this, then I feel comfortable enabling masks because I know that it's going to focus in the center, which is where the subject is. I know I didn't move. Obviously, if you had a different shoot, different models doing different things, you want to do personal masks for each photo. But for this one, we're going to enable it. Okay, so I'll hit copy. Then I'm going to go all the way to the end, hit Shift click. And then if you're on a laptop on a Mac, you got to do Command Shift V, right? Let's replace. And then it's going to paste all the settings. And right there, I got that little prompt that said, this has been pasted to 77 photos. So let's check it out. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to look through all the photos and just kind of make sure that everything looks good. As you can see, now I'm looking at a different part of the photo here. I have this bright backdrop, so I want to make sure that the adjustments I made on that first photo where it wasn't showing the window kind of translate and still make sense here. And they do. I just want to make sure that it's not blown out. The highlights aren't a little too high. And it looks good. Okay. Now I did see this. I do want to call this out. So I was on a carpet, and obviously when I put the carpet, or when I had my tripod on the carpet to the part of the carpet without a tripod, the x-axis kind of moved a little bit. So that's going to translate when we start moving this into After Effects. A thing that we could do is manually just adjust the angle in each crop of the photo. We're not going to have time for that. We're just kind of going to do a quick and dirty hyperlapse just to get an idea. But hyperlapses, they definitely are a thing that the more work and love you put to them, the more polished they're going to look. So, you know, it's also one of those things that the more you try and get it right while you're shooting, the less you have to do in post-production. So we'll see how this looks when we apply warp stabilizer. It's always kind of like a cool magic trick for me that I see how well can it work. You know, how much of it can we fix it in post? Will it try and do? But we will see. I do see that it does. Yeah, see right there, kind of jumps in y-axis too. So we'll see how it looks when we export it. But that is one thing I want to shout out. Usually when you're shooting a hyperlapse, you just really want to get that X and Y axis locked in and just focus in the center for every single shot. That is how you're going to get the smoothest one without having to do too much post-production. So this looks good, okay? I want to export these now. So I will, here, let's go to the grid view. So I hit G to get into this, and I'm going to hit Command A to highlight all these photos. And then we're going to go up here, and then we're going to go to export. Okay. We got Ray coming in from London, England. Ray, thank you for joining us, my friend. You could also add a gradual zoom to hide it a little. That is a phenomenal tip, my friend. We might actually do that in After Effects. Reverb mic, yeah, very matrixy. I agree, my friend. Cool. So thank you all for, again, joining us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I know we're an international audience here. I'm tuning in from California, the mountains of California. Why don't you all let me know where you're tuning in from? But for now, let's go back to these export settings. So I like to keep organized, right? I have everything in this holiday week 2024 folder. And obviously, I already kind of took a pass at this just to see how it would work. Obviously, you don't want to work on something that's not going to look good on stream. But let's just pretend all these stuff isn't here. I'll do a new folder, and then I'll just say, let's see, lamp exported. Okay, cool. Create. We're going to choose this. I'm gonna click a subfolder because I just made one. But the big thing, in order for this to work and make our lives easier in After Effects, is under file naming, we want to do custom name sequence. And the reason for that is because it's going to add a numerical order starting from 1 to however many photos you have in a sequential order. And we want that because then when we import this into After Effects, it's going to know that this is a sequential asset and it'll turn into a video. We'll see that in a sec. Okay. Lamp. I already used that. Let's come up with a cool name. Let's say lamp AL for Adobe Live. Okay. There we go. And then I'm just going to hit export. Okay. So there it is. It's going to export 77 files. I don't think it'll take too long. Otherwise, I probably would have rendered before. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a sip of water. And then I'll look at the chat. So let's see. We got Clever from deep in the heart of Texas. Whereabouts in Texas? I actually lived in Texas for a little bit of my youth in San Antonio. Riverwalk. You ever been to the Riverwalk? It's pretty cool. Oliver from the UK. Nice, my friend. Very cool. It's probably 5, 6 p.m. your time, I think. I know when we're starting, you guys are kind of ending. So that is pretty cool. Let's see. Very cool. All right, so while that is exporting, let me go ahead and fire up After Effects, because we are going to jump into After Effects. Now, don't be intimidated by After Effects. I know this app, especially if you don't like motion graphics, you can kind of be like, So we got Ryan Selby in the chat. Paco, what are we looking at? We're doing, is this glass blowing? That's hilarious, my friend. Actually, fun fact, the Adobe Live team did do a glass blowing team thing a couple years ago. And it was cool. I'm going to say that I went glass blowing, but no, we're working on a hyperlapse, my friend. So let's pretend we're small business owners. We got these cool products that we want to sell or maybe kind of promote on our social media and say, hey, I'm doing a sale. What's a way to kind of make that post engaging? We can do hyperlapses. And again, I shot this with my fancy camera, but you don't need a fancy camera to do this. You can honestly do this with an iPhone, and I have done it. So let's say you have like an ornament that you made custom ornaments, just put it on a stool, take your camera, and then just kind of go around it, you know, with at least 40 or 70 shots. And it totally works. The only difference is that, of course, you're not going to have a raw image, so you won't be able to really edit as much. You know, when you start pushing those edits, you might start to see digital artifacts because it's shot a JPEG where it's kind of this baked in compressed file instead of raw where it really has all that data to adjust. But that's kind of the goal, right? And then we were just using some masking and lighting to kind of hide the areas that we don't think is important, okay? All right, so that finished exporting. There's Ansel Hyperlapse. So if we have time, I was going to show you how I made this one. This is my dog who I'm obsessed with. We got him a year ago, Ansel. And this was actually shot handheld, so I didn't need a tripod here. But I did a lot of, how do I say, manual adjusting in Lightroom to make this not look so wobbly. So this came out pretty cool for not being on a tripod. Let's see. We got Natalie from Arkansas. Welcome. We got Ryan from Brooklyn. Yes, I knew you were in Brooklyn, my friend. Okay, so here is our exported sequence. And as you can see, it's the lamp and then 1 through 77, which is what we want, okay? So here it is exported in JPEG, which is good because that's a smaller file. It's going to be a little bit happier with us in After Effects. So let's go ahead and get started in After Effects. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command-I to bring in an asset, lamp exported, right? And then I'm going to click on the first one and check it out, right? Automatically After Effects detects that this is a PNG sequence. So I want to make sure that that's clicked and we'll hit open, okay? As you can see, it imported in as a photo stack, but it comes in as a video. Now, again, without going too much into frame rates, this by default on After Effects comes in at 30 frames per second. I like to actually bring that down to the lowest possible frame rate without it starting to look jaggedy, which is usually 24 frames per second. So that way we just have a little bit more video instead of it being at 30 FPS, because the more frames you have in a video, the shorter it's going to be, if that makes sense. So we can do that by going into interpret footage. We'll go to main. And again, by default, it's going to assume that the frame rate is 30 FPS. No, I want to do 3.976, which is what cameras shoot 24 FPS at. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay. Sean is able to focus because his meeting is done. Thanks for giving us your undivided attention, my friend. Reverb, After Effects, it's easy as pie. I wish I had that mentality when I started. I was very intimidated by this app. Okay, cool. So an easy way to turn a video into a composition is just to kind of drag it into this little composition thing. And there we go. We now have a composition that matches the size and frame rate of this video. So let's go ahead and play it, okay? Here it is. Ooh, cool, matrixy. But obviously, it's pretty jaggedy, right? There's a lot of movement, which, you know, if I probably shot it better, it probably wouldn't be as movement, but fear not, because that's why we use Warp Stabilizer. Okay, so let's go find our effects and presets, which will be right there. And then I'm going to type in Warp Stabilizer. So what I like to do is apply a default Warp Stabilizer and see how it renders. If it doesn't look too good, there's a couple more things we can do. All right, so let's go ahead and add a Warp Stabilizer to this video. It's going to initialize, it's going to do its magic, and then from there, we can see how it came out. Let's see. And another cool thing, so when you're shooting hyperlapses, I would say, especially if you're shooting with a fancy camera that has so much resolution, shoot wider than you think you would. Because what's cool about shooting wide is usually when you apply a Warp Stabilizer, it's going to crop in to compensate for the adjustments. And as you can see, it's scaled by about almost 15%, which is good. I anticipated that, which is why I shot wider. Okay. And then when it finishes doing that, I like to do a detailed analysis, just kind of like give it another pass and see what magic it can do. Ryan is saying in Warp Stabilizer we trust. I agree, my friend. Okay, cool. Moment of truth. Let's see how this looks. Here we go. That looks pretty dang good. Okay, so that stabilized it quite a bit and it looks way better. So you could be satisfied with this. We could try and fine tune it a little more. I like how this is looking. I'm going to show you actually real quick a very, very cool Warp Stabilizer hack that has saved my skin with a bunch of client shoots I used to do. So usually if Warp Stabilizer doesn't give you the results that you want, there is a very cool hack that you can do. So I'm going to delete that. And then what you do is you pre-compose, right? And then we'll move all attributes to a new composition. And then you'll go inside the composition. What I like to do is I like to put a solid on top of this mask, or sorry, this footage, and then kind of cover up everything that isn't essential to the Warp Stabilizer. This will all make sense in just a sec. So we'll go to layer, we'll go to solid, right? We'll just kind of generate this black video, and then I'm gonna make a mask out of this because I wanna hide everything that's not this lamp. So if I go ahead and double click, that ellipse tool is just gonna make a mask, and then I'm going to just resize the mask so it kind of covers up this Hybe Kozo lamp. And then we're going to invert it because we want the lamp to show. We want everything else to kind of be hidden. Okay, so then we're just going to click inverted. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this lamp and then add a warp stabilizer from here. So this is kind of a cool trick. So now what it's going to do, it's going to do a warp stabilizer based on what it sees, which is everything that's not black. And then I do like to change some settings here. Here, we'll do a detailed analysis as well. Unable to, well, that's fun. Thank you for that. Okay. I don't think I've seen that. So let's try this one more time. So we won't do the detailed analysis because After Effects didn't like that. Okay, so it did that. All right, and then I'm going to change some stuff here. We'll go to perspective, and then I like to change this to 3%. And then now we obviously don't want a black frame here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here and remove the black frame. Now let's see the results. Sometimes this works pretty dang good compared to the traditional one. Sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, I think it looks a little better for sure. So usually this method of manually doing it, just if it's too warpy, you know, if you use warp stabilizer a lot, sometimes it kind of gives you this like wobbly effect. This, from my experience, doesn't do that and still give you great results. So we're going to take this a step further, and then I'm going to pre-compose this one more time. And now we're going to add a traditional warp stabilizer and just see what it does, right? So we're stabilizing on stabilizing, which is fun stuff. Okay, now it really cropped in, all right? So cropped in another 17%. Again, we shot wide, but that's okay. So then we'll go here. And yeah, it's, you know, I think the fact that it cropped it in more is just kind of giving it a little bit more of a shaky effect. So we're going to backtrack here. We're actually just not going to do that. And we're going to keep this one. Okay, cool. So I like this. We're going to keep this as is for the sake of time. Obviously, there are many things we can do to fine tune this. A lot of it being is just making sure that it was even when we shot it. And that's something I can do in Lightroom. If we have time, maybe I'll show you how to do that. But for the sake of time, I want to keep going. So this is cool. I like how it goes once. Another cool thing to do to make this video longer, so to say, is to kind of loop it. So Command K on After Effects will give us the composition settings, right? By default, this is 3 seconds. I like to double that. So let's just say, well, a little more than double. Let's just say 7 seconds. Okay. Now we have a longer composition, and then I'm going to duplicate this composition. We will hit O to get to the end of it, and then the left bracket key to bring that new layer that we just made to the end, right? And then I'm going to make sure that those layers are handing each other off there. And what I like to do is we will right click, we will do time, and then we are going to do time reverse layer because that is going to give us a cool bounce effect, right? So let's play this from the start. So here it goes, boom, and then going back. Cool. Now we have about a 6-second video. All right. So we shot about 70 frames. Traditionally, it was about 3 seconds, but we just doubled that. So now we have a really cool effect, right? So very, very cool. I'm liking how this is looking. Yep, that looks good. What do you think, folks? How do we think? Let's see, look at the chat. Can't show the plants of a new planet. Cool. I'm going to take some water here. Excellent. All right, cool. So now we have a hyperlapse, right? What are we going to do with this? Well, we want to market this. So why don't we take it into Adobe Express and make a cool flyer out of it? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and export this. So I have a default shortcut. It's Control M. That should bring up Media Encoder. It is loading. And then we're just going to render this out into an H.264 video. All right. Again, it's thinking, it's doing its stuff. While we wait, folks, what are we doing for Christmas? What are your plans? Are we staying home? Are we going home for the holidays? I have family in Colorado, so traditionally I will be flying there. I usually go to Denver, but this time we're going to go to Durango, which is kind of this southern part of Colorado, a little nestled away from big cities, so usually not as crazy as the big ski towns in Summit County, but it'll be good. I have family that lives there, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Okay, so here we go. I like to send things into Adobe Media Encoder because it's more efficient in my opinion when it comes to rendering. So we're just going to render this in H.264. So H.264 is just traditional, one of the delivery formats for web. Very low size, not the best codec to work on when you're editing, but great for delivery. And then I just like to increase, let's see, we'll go to the VBR pass. I just like to increase this to give it a little bit more quality. And I don't mind jacking this up just because I can see the estimated file size. This is a short video. By default was 8 megs. That's nothing in today's world. So I'm just going to bring this up to about like 67. It'll be 54 megs. We're just going to have a sharper, higher quality looking image, right? And then we'll go to output name. We'll go back to my holiday. We'll do render. And then we'll just say this is the third pass. Because you caught me. I've done this twice. Okay, here we go. We'll hit OK, and then we are going to render this. Let's see. Oliver's staying home. I went to Clever. I went to visit Durango and pick up. Ooh, sounds like you're familiar with Durango. That's pretty cool. Flying to the Midwest, 9+ hours. Wait a second. Why is it? Are you in the States, Sean? I thought you were in the States. If you're flying 9 hours, and that leads me to believe you are not in the States. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at our rendered video. Here we go. Lamp third pass. Okay. There we go. Looking cool. Still a little wobbly, but that's okay. You know, if we have time, then we can try and finesse that. But you get the idea. We have a pretty cool looking product, and we're looking at more of this product than just a straight on shot, right? Now we're kind of getting this like matrixy, like 180-degree look of it. Kind of shines our product a little more. Okay. So let's go to Adobe Express. And the goal here is to kind of make this cool social post highlighting our product. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this plus button. And then we want to create an Instagram story. Okay. Here we go. Cool. Now this is the holidays, right? We want it to be holiday themed. So let's search for a animated. All right, let's just do holiday sale, right? You can filter here on After Effects. I want an animation. We're in the video world here. So I want templates that already kind of animated and they have stuff that I can work with. So what's pretty cool is you can filter for that, right? If we go to this filter option, we can go to, let's see, is it under type? There we go. Type, we're going to do animated templates. Right, and then here's one. We got a Black Friday one. We got the Happy Holidays. Let's see, how does this look? Let's hit play. Cool. Traditional. Santa Claus is red, so we got a red flyer. Speaking of Santa Claus, here is Santa Claus. So Christmas sale. I like this one. It's got jolly old Saint Nick, right? But we're on a live stream, so we got a bunch of options here. Chat, which flyer shall we work with? I'm going to leave it up to you. You can let me know which flyer to work with, and we're going to do that. This is live. Let's do some fun ad hoc stuff. Let's do 3 options. We'll make this easy. We have this one, we'll say is option A, this like black Christmas lighty. We got jolly old Saint Nick. We'll say this is option B. And then I like this one. Yeah, we'll say this green one. It's option C. So chat, let me know. Go ahead and put it in the chat which option you think I should work with, or will look pretty cool with our new Hyperlapse. We got option A, option B, and option C. Let's see, here we go. I'll make this a little bigger. Option A, option B, option C. Go ahead and put it in the chat, and we will work with whatever template you all guide me. My now designing efforts are in your hands. Not a self-proclaimed graphic designer, but we are working with Express here. Makes it pretty dang easy. See, I'm seeing a couple A's. Wow, B's taking the lead. Got Marcy on YouTube chat saying A. I think option A is winning here. Ooh, but we got Kim saying B. Okay, so we do have some folks for jolly old Saint Nick. So I'll tell you what. I think B's taking the lead here. So we're going to work with option B first. And then if we got time, let's do option A. Okay, so here we go. We'll do option B. And we have all these different layers, right? So what's cool about Adobe Express, and if you're familiar with Photoshop or just honestly the way a lot of our products work here on Adobe, is they're all layered. So let's see. Everything's looking good. We're not selling Santa Claus. So what I think we should do here is replace our friendly old jolly old Saint Nick with this product. So we're going to hit delete. Sorry, bud. I know you'll be coming for Christmas. Don't give me a piece of black coal for that. But we are selling a product here. So let's go ahead and add our stuff. So we're going to upload from device. We'll say it's this third pass. And let's hit OK. All right. So check it out. We're now using this template with this new rendered asset that we just made. So we'll let that load. As you can see, it's kind of loading. It is a video. So it's going to take a second here. Let's see. We've got Genesis saying A, Kim saying B. Ray. Hey, I see you on Behance, Sean. I was looking at both. I'm factoring them in. Okay, cool. So we have this in here, right? And this is obviously, you know, I would want to put this behind all the text and all this stuff. But as a square frame, this is pretty distracting. So what I'm thinking is we could maybe turn this into a circle. So let's find the crop tool. We got square, we got circle. Let's do a circle. Cool. All right, and then maybe we just make this bigger because, again, we want this Hyperlapse to be the main focal point of this. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Cool, now it's a little centered. And then we can just kind of resize from here. But I do want this to be pretty big, actually. So maybe it's the text that will be resized. Because, again, this is the focal point of this flyer. And then we do want to animate this. So it might be cool to kind of do, let's see, a drop. Drop is cool. Yeah, so there's obviously a lot going on in this template right now, but we're going to make sure everything is nice and congruent. So maybe we'll do a smooth fade in. I like it. And then we'll lower this duration to about 0.4 seconds. There we go. Okay, and then we just want to make sure now that everything is kind of tidy. So what I want to do is I want the video to be the first thing, right? And then the Christmas sale, let's see. We kind of want this to come in a little bit later. So let's see. Okay, cool. And then obviously this is not a Christmas sale. This is a lamp sale. So what should our text be? We could say, get your lamp now. All right, 50% off. I don't think we want to sell these at 50% off. Maybe we'll do 25% off. Let's put a lot of work into them, you know? Okay, December 20th. Is that today? What's today? Yeah, I think it's December 20th. So that's cool. I do like how the text kind of overlays with this. All items, no, it's only one thing. Let's see, shop now. Yep, that looks good. And then we will just say Adobe Live. You know, we'll do the Instagram handle at Adobe Live. All right, cool. Okay, hold on. And then get your lamp now. This is what I wanted to shorten, actually. I think I actually initially shortened the video. I want to change the timing of get your lamp now. And then the 25% off. Maybe it goes here. And I actually see something behind. Yeah. Okay, so maybe this can go here. So we're not covering this stuff up. We'll bring it a little bit higher, actually, because it's getting a little crowded here, folks. We don't want this to be too crowded. Take it away from our lovely, lovely Hybe Cozy. Bring this down. And again, easy peasy. All right, click and drag. Just makes it so much easier. Because again, I'm not a self-proclaimed designer, but we're designing stuff right now. If I can do it, you all can do it. Okay, let's see how this looks. Let's take it from the top. Ready? Get your lamp now, 25% off. That's pretty cool. I like how it looks. Let's say we wanted that. Again, I would probably want to fine tune this a little bit, but we only have 15 minutes left, folks. Let's go ahead and download this and see how it looks. Stay alert. We could run out of space real fast. That is a Star Wars quote, my friend. You want to know why I know that? Because I've probably seen Star Wars as much as you have. Anybody that knows me knows I am a Star Wars nerd. So I appreciate the Star Wars quotes. General Kenobi, as always, my friend. If we want to take it even nerdier, I'm pretty sure that is a line from Return of the Jedi as they come into the Death Star to do their final trench run. And Lando says that. Yes, I did just kind of have a nerd out moment there, but making a point here. All right, let's look at our flyer. So that looks cool. Obviously, there's some stuff I want to change, like the off, right? We maybe want to bump that up a little bit, or you know what? Why don't we just put that? Let's make a quick adjustment here. Yes, that was. Did you see how easy that was? It's covering it, but we are selling something, so I just put it on top of that, and now we're really emphasizing that this is the time to buy it. I'm going to download that again one more time. Let's hit download. Impressive, most impressive. Sean, I don't believe you for a second saying you don't know what Star Wars is. That is a pop culture thing, man. Everybody knows what Star Wars is. Okay, cool. So this is downloading. Let's see how our finished product works. 90%. And when it does that, we'll design one more with the second option that you all gave us. And then we'll see where we're at with time. Okay. That's still thinking. It's almost there. I can feel it. I have a good feeling about this. All right, here we go. Let's check this one out. Get your lamp, 25% off. That's pretty cool, y'all. What do we think? Obviously, Adobe Live, I think I would space it out, but we made a flyer and a product pretty fast. If I was shopping and I was holiday shopping, this would catch my attention, okay? Okay, cool. Let's try and do one more just to show you how quickly it is to work with this stuff. Let's see. Your stuff. No, we want to go to search. And then we want to go holiday sale. Okay, and then let's see. Where did you go? We want to view all templates. There it is. Okay, let's work on this one. We'll start a new file. All right, and looking at the chat. Also love a bandana on a dog. Yes. Maybe we can put some fancy holiday stuff to Ansel. My furry little doggo after this. Okay. All right. So we got about a little over 12 minutes left. Maybe we can knock this out real quick. Before I do that, though, I do want to plug in. We got a full day of holiday goodness. Don't you go anywhere. I'm going to throw up the schedule real quick. So we're making some hyperlapses right now with myself. And then we got weekend creative coming up. After that, we got holiday bookmarks with Emily and Andrew Hockrattle, illustrations for Hanukkah with Jess Goldsmith, and Jesus Ramirez, the Photoshop wizard himself, will be wrapping up the day. So don't go anywhere. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. I see a Pora in the chat. Pora, thank you. Purva, sorry. Thank you for joining us. No, it's all good. No need to apologize for being late. I'm just glad you all are here. See Jacob Phillips in the chat. Yeah, we're talking about the holiday sweater. Let's shout it out again. Check it out. So again, I cannot take credit for this. My partner loves thrifting. She found this. I am Mexican, and she appropriately bought me this sweater. Feliz Navidad. Have you guys seen that like TikTok, Instagram meme that's been going around where there's this really emo dude singing like Feliz Navidad, and then there's like an emo reindeer. Oh, I got such a crack out of that. As a fellow emo scene kid myself, emo's coming back. Mark my words. It's going nowhere. Okay, so we have one more Express template to make. So Christmas sale starting December 21st. Let's see how it looks. Pretty light. I'd say that's engaging. We're looking for scroll stopping content here, folks. Okay, let's go ahead and add our video one more time. See, we'll do the third pass. It's going to load here. It's going to think. It's going to do all its magic to bring in this amazing video that we made. There it is. Let's see. Emo's coming back. Umacorn, I believe. Were you a fellow scene kid? Something happened over the summer. I I got this urge to just listen to my old high school bands. And then I've kind of been rocking my scene emo playlist for quite some time this year. I just, it gets me pumped up. It's nostalgic, but also, it's screamo stuff. My partner definitely does not love it when we're in car rides together, but I'm telling you, if you're in a long car ride and you're kind of falling asleep, crank that emo music. It's better than a cup of coffee. Mark my words. All right, so same thing. Let's crop this. Let's see. We did a circle last time. What do we think? Maybe, whoa, check this out. There's this kind of pentagon, hexagon shape, but kind of goes with the shape of the Hyperlapse. So let's give that a whirl. Switch things up. We're all about variety here. So let's see. We're going to do this. Make it a little bit bigger. Again, this is the focal point of the shoot. Here we go. I like it. Let me bring it a little bit down. What I would like to do is actually maybe have this Christmas text kind of join this, but we want to work with the layers here, folks. All right. There we go. Maybe we turn this text red because the contrast here isn't working for me and it's getting a little harder to read. But yeah, sweater vibes. It's red and black. Why don't we go with red? Some form of red. Hey, I like that. Cool. It is Christmas. Okay. All right. And then December 21st. No, what's today? Is it the 20th? No, today's the 18th. Jeez, Paco, where are you at? Let's say today's the sale, hypothetically. Up to 25% off? Nah, we'll say up. No, let's make it capital. Up to 100% off. Adobe Live exclusive, y'all. This is what's happening. All right. And then for this sale, listen to screamo music. How's that going to happen? I don't know. Maybe you're listening to screamo music on Spotify and then this Hyperlapse lamp magically appears. It's the holidays, Stuff happens. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where my layers went. I zoomed in on something. And now it doesn't want to come back. How does this even happen? Let me reload. Oh my god. I think I gotta zoom out. There we go. I was zooming in on the canvas when I had to go away from the canvas to zoom in. That's pretty funny. Okay, and then let's work with some text here because we have stuff covering other stuff. So let's bring this down. No, Hyperlapse. Let's lock this. All right. I know there is a way to lock it. Maybe I can lock it. There we go. I don't want you moving anymore. But I want the other text to move. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I just want to grab this sail. Come on. Come on. There you are. Come on down. We got to see what you're saying. Okay. And then let's animate. Oh, sorry. You are locked. Let's animate this. Let's do a slide this time. Why not? Let's see how this looks. 0.5 seconds. Strong. Nah. Let's do smooth. That's pretty cool. No, you know what? Oh, that. Okay. That is kind of like giving you this epic, like, oh, it's happening. I love lamp. Yes, we all love lamp. You know what? That's what this should say. I love lamp. This is amazing, you all. You're giving me such great ideas here. Okay, and then let's play this. We gotta get rid of the sail here because this is obviously not working. Okay, let's try this one more time. And there's a gift there. I appreciate what you're doing, but we don't need you right here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, gift. Let's see. There, we're gonna delete you. Okay. I really want to get this downloaded. Just make sure. There we go. Yeah, okay. This is happening. We have a minute left here, so I'm just gonna click download. But you all get the idea. Okay, so got a minute left. We're pushing it to the wire here, folks, but I have a good feeling about this. Been wanting you to post that for most of this stream. Clever. I love lamp. Lamp's fun. Okay, it's thinking. It's thinking, folks. So let's see. We'll come back to this one while it thinks. Here's our lower third. Make your holiday product stand out with hyperlapses. What do you think, chat? Did we make it stand out? I think we did. Right? And then for the sake of... Oh my goodness, it's downloading. Here it is. Okay. Let's have a look at this. We'll make it full screen. Here we go. Full screen. All right. Another product. Again, could be a little finesse, but you all get the idea. You know what's happening here. All right. Here we go. Play it. Christmas starts on December 18th, up to 100% on. I love lamp. Shop now. We did it, friends. We did it. Let's play this one more time. I think I like this one too. It's good, good Christmas lights, you know. Christmas, December 18th. I love lamp. Don't forget it. Okay, cool. So with that being said, I am going to bid you all farewell. That was fun. I had fun. I hope you all had fun. Don't go anywhere because Weekend Creative is coming up next. Arabella and Ellie, two of my favorite people. So stick around. We got plenty more Adobe Live holiday goodness coming up. We'll see you in a sec. Have a good one, everybody.